Good morning and welcome to the original Loretta Brown Show. Radio to open the heart, heal the soul, and awaken the consciousness. I don't know, Betty. Let's sing today.
You're definitely in a singing mood for some amazing wild reason. I don't know.
I woke up early and drank water.
Ah,
what could I say?
Good for you, though. Good for you.
Yeah.
I still need to kind of get on that.
Yeah. I've been trying to drink more water.
It doesn't take much. What is it like? Your weight in ounces of water, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It shouldn't be too hard for some of us.
It's good for us, right? Yeah, it's good for us. Anyway, I'm in a goofy mood this morning. I hope it's not too much for people. Sometimes when it's gray and rainy out there, of course, it's been sunny and cold, so I can't complain about anything. I hope everybody's doing good. I am the owner of Reiki Oasis, located right here in the greater Seattle area for the last, long time, 27 years, 28 years, something like that. I do have Reiki 2 and master classes coming up in December and January, and you can find out more about that at my website, ReikiOasis.com. You can schedule everything at schedule.ReikiOasis.com, and a big shout out to all those people that help support my show from Patreon. Yeah. So, Benny, you got anything magnificent going on?
Not at the moment. Just just hanging out. Nothing much more to report.
I always put you on the spot because I love people say they love you and they want to hear your voice.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm here all morning, so I guess, that kind of happens that way. So, you're welcome to call, and I can chat with you on the phone if you wish to. Probably not live on the air most times, but, because we're in the middle of other shows. However, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, we've had quite the week astrologically, and oh my goodness, the full blood moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. And we had the elections on Tuesday. But remember that these events are not light switches on the wall. The eclipses will affect our health, our wealth, our relationships. And the tough part is that the crux of an eclipse revolves around the notion that in order to reach this highest level of life, something may have to be eclipsed out of our world. Full moons, really illuminate things. So what leaves us was obviously not meant for us. And all emotions aside, it can't get simpler than that. I think sometimes it's really hard to embrace change, or it's like, what's going to happen, Loretta? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been around long enough to know that sometimes on the other side of releasing something wonderful is able to come in. So the Taurian energy offers this constant reassurance. It's the ground under our feet, calling us to summon our own inner strength, our own inner empress, because it's the earth energy, our spiritual divine right to co-create our path. And she basically says, stand on the earth and know your worth. I like that. Stand on the earth and know your worth. Stand on the earth and know your worth. And it's also an energy that's trying to stabilize us. So it is time to release our karmic baggage and move forward to the hope of tomorrow. We will be feeling the effects of this cosmic weather for the next 6 months. And the energies of this eclipse are pushing us into the next chapter of our soul evolution. It's all good. It just, like I keep saying to my clients, just stabilize yourself. Come into the center, take some long, deep breaths, have some fun with your family and your loved ones. Stop watching the news. Well, maybe you can flick an eyelid over there once in a while. I don't know, Betty. I mean, we do need to know what's going on in the world. But
yeah, I mean, this is a very important election week.
Yes.
There's a lot of things still being hashed out. I know in the state of Georgia, they're reporting it's so close, they're actually going to have a runoff.
Yeah.
Because neither of them got over the 50% margin, and therefore it's, I believe, it's just too close for comfort. I mean, so to speak. But that happened in our state not too long ago for our governors, I forgot who was running at the time, but I know we had to have this very similar situation because it was just so close. So every vote counts. Every
Yes,
vote
thank you.
matters.
Thank you for that. I've been telling people, be sure, we're past voting, but do remember
Yeah.
that your vote does count because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people get this idea it doesn't count. And I'm like, wait a minute, I always feel like if you at least do it, you've done it, so you can say, I did it, right?
Yeah,
Just,
I mean, this is
yeah,
the every opportunity for those if you're, able to vote and get out there and, submit ballots and get to the polls. I mean, this is your opportunity. I mean, you might
yeah,
as well take advantage of it.
yeah, yeah. And I think that, at least for myself, right, like I'm not a political platform here, I'm a person, but we need to be involved in what's going on in our world. We really do. So find a way to do that. Stand up and shine your light and say, hey, go this way. And no is a powerful word. So is yes. You got to know when to use them, Benny. You got to know. I like how you're smiling. As we journey through November, we will also be working with the energies of Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde, which can sometimes make us feel sluggish or heightened feelings of burnout, or really just let you know you're doing too much, right? You're pushing too hard. So Mars will be retrograde until January of 2023, and it asks us to take things a little slower and not to make rash decisions. Remember, Mars is that energy of go get them, right? It's out there, it's fiery. So when Mars says, whoa, I'm going to go backwards, we might just find ourselves pushing and shoving and trying to get moving forward and battling. And Mars is saying, hey, even warriors need to take a little breath and reevaluate the direction that they're going in, right? And for those fiery people, because I'm a fire sign, when someone tells us to slow down, sometimes we go, "Wah, what?" Just remember, it's everything in balance, right? Everything in harmony. If we do slow down, if we do take a moment, if we do go into our center, things will have a chance to make themselves clearer. And we may discover things we've been overlooking. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, going too fast. Remember that now more than ever, we've been asked to live life from the inside out, not the outside in. Don't let the outside influences throw you off. Get inside there and say, hey, I know who I am. This can happen. And then I posted something on my Facebook page yesterday, something like, I think you've mistaken me for someone with a blocked throat chakra, right? And be careful with your throat chakras out there because Mars is retrograde in Gemini. The events of the external world may press against us and toss us about. The real strength and truth is found inside the still, quiet space inside, which is a deep connection to our spiritual nature. And there's a lot of astrological energies of unexpected events.
It's one of those mornings, huh?
I'm sorry.
It's all
I'm
good.
trying to
Hey,
hold it
we're
together.
working through it. It's all good.
Thank you. Um, Unexpected events are stepping forward. So find your inner strength and stability. And apparently, laughter is going to help you get through this because I keep doing it. We are also in a very powerful 11 portal, which began on November 1st, the 11th month of the year, and goes through November 11th, which is Friday. And this is powerful. Friday with the 11-11 alignment is a magical, powerful day that wants to help us feel balanced in our mind, body, and soul. And this balance can help us create and lead lives from a place of wholeness rather than lack or scarcity. And by the way, the energies today are pretty good also. So to connect with and channel the energy of the 11-11, raise your vibrations with strong positive thought, with laughter, with singing, with dancing around. Do something and spend a little time to connect with your higher self and the divine beings and focus on what you want to help bring into this world. What is the life you want to create? What is the world you want to live in? Sometimes simply placing your hand on your heart and breathing in and out quietly can help center you and connect you with the divine. Visualize, sense, see, or feel a better world and send your energy and your love and your radiance out into the world and to help bring it about. With so much division in the world, remember to focus on what you want and only what you want in the world. We are powerful, powerful co-creators. I want to read a little quote here that I took from Jeff Brown. Wherever you are at on your journey through time, be assured there is a soul path somewhere at the heart of it. And as difficult as it may be to see it, as overwhelming as it may seem to embody it, it is well worth the effort. And once you catch a glimpse of it, it will beckon you home like a fire of divine possibility with your name on it. And that fire will not only show you the direction to walk, it will fuel you as you overcome the obstacles in the way. It will warm and inspire you every step. And when you walk through the gateway of your sacred purpose, you walk into yourself. Don't lose the faith wherever you are on the path. Keep going. And then our guest today, unfortunately, was not able to show up. And so we are going to do an encore presentation.
Yeah, it was from a couple of weeks ago with Yoichi Utebi, and it was all about the Divine Protector and the Master Salt Begins. And I will edit everything for here on out on. So if people are watching and expecting our guest Brad Woosney, we'll have to reschedule him for next time.
We'll reschedule him. We'll
Yeah.
get him back some other time.
Mm-hmm.
Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And Benny, as ever, you are the magician of all that is. Thank you.
My pleasure. Here we go.
So my guest this week, I am saying this from my heart. I actually just adore this man, everything that he does, the work that that Happy Science is doing, and I'm always thrilled to have him on my show. Yoichi Utebi, after 12 years of experience in marketing and senior management at various American IT companies. In Japan, Mr. Utebi joined Happy Science in 2010, where he quickly rose to Director of International Communications. Mr. Utebi is currently a minister, a world lecturer for Happy Science, and a producer, I think, on their newest movie, The Divine Protector, Master Salt Begins, a movie about deflecting curses and negative thinking. Welcome to the show, Mr. Utebi. It's such an honor to have you.
Okay, thank you so much, Loretta, for having me back again. I think this is like, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, every time I hear you've got a movie.
Times.
Yeah, every time I hear you have a movie out, I'm like, I'm in.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Every time you call me up to join the show.
Thank you. Well, this subject is so needed to be talked about. So let's just kind of start out with a kind of a broad question. What are curses?
Yeah, that's
how are they manifested, right?
Right. So curses is well, like you just introduced, we tend to think it is out of our norm most of the time, not many people. I mean, I don't know how many percentage, but many people, just in usual would think it's something in the movie. I mean, it's in the movie now, but for us, either or like I don't know, cursed mansion or stabbing a doll with a nail, thick nail, or like you said, it's about spelling, spell, black magic, something I don't know, satanic ritual, something that's not so clean, something that is kind of scary and spooky and things like that. That's the kind of image we have when we hear the word curse, right? But and it's true. It's been like that for ancient times. There's a lot of curses that's been around. So none of them are. They're all true. Yes. Yeah. But what we want to portray in this movie is that it's not about that, like out of norm curses where you have to put like a spell on somebody or like that. But this is something that we believe that the curses are happening every day in our life. And actually it's flying around us everywhere. Because if you think about it, it's just the concentrated energy, right? Of negative thinking or negative thoughts or willpower that is being emitted from a specific person to somebody else, specific other person. That relationship creates very, very strong negative power, and that becomes a curse. So sometimes there's the specific way of cursing somebody by using spells and I don't know, whatever they do, right? Whatever they do.
Well,
But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but I am totally with you because a lot of people think that it's like witches or spell casting or somebody's poking pins in a puppet, you know, which there is power to these things.
Yeah, of course.
Misunderstand.
Yep.
But I look at that as like a purposeful cursing. And that's why this movie was like, it brought it right down to the living level of life where I'm not thinking of myself as an evil person, but yeah,
you actually, this, as long as you have a negative thoughts and if it's strong enough, it can really become exactly same as you actually putting a spell on somebody. It's the same effect that you're going to have to somebody else. Sometimes intentionally and sometimes not intentionally. You might be, cursing somebody or, putting some kind of spell or bringing negative energy to a specific person. And the thoughts manifest. We all know that, right? If you think positively, if you're a positive person, you're gonna open up a positive life. And if you are a negative thinker, you will never be able to become a successful in your life. That's just the laws of the universe, right? So if you really think about it, if you throw something negative to somebody specific, that's going to manifest. That's going to become a reality. We call it like this can become a materialized. And how it becomes reality is that it's actually going to be a negative energy. So it's going to have a negative effect to the specific person that would cause an accident, could be injury, maybe just a little bit of the headache or the back pain. But it could, if it's so strong, it could cause a disease and illness as well. And that's the power of thoughts that we have as human beings. So we have to be really mindful and be careful about how we use our thinking level. So that's what we want to tell in this movie.
I'm blown away by our conversation. I love our conversation, right? I practice the art of Reiki and energy medicine and meditation, all of that, but we do talk about negative thought forms, right? And the power of a negative thought form, which is right in an alignment with what you're talking about. Like when you're emoting or thinking, because you bring this out in the show so beautifully, it actually goes and creates something. And it's a piece of your energy that goes out. So talk more about that, because I saw that in the movie and I went, oh, yeah, that's it.
Right. Yeah. So this movie is called Divine Protectress Master Soul Begins, and it's the main character is she's right here. Her name is Shioko, Master Salt. The reason why is, you might think Master Salt, it's kind of weird name, right? But she uses pure salt to actually expel curses and repel and return curses and evil existence in this movie. Because salt has a power. It has I'm sure you know, it has a spiritual power, very strong spiritual power to cleanse the environment and protect this, create a spiritual screen, protect yourself and your house. We put like a salt tower in the corner of houses in Japan, or you splash salt before the small wrestling, right? This is all purification and protecting yourself. So she kind of uses that. That's why she's a Master Salt. Just so everybody knows, why is it Master Salt, right? It's kind of weird. But anyway, so it's a supernatural spiritual movie, as always, we always have. And she's a superwoman, and she just goes out there and help people. But the thing about this movie is that she helps the ordinary people.
Yes.
So that's why it's so relatable. Something is very, it might not happen to you every day in your life, but it could happen.
Yes.
These things. So one is the main topic we talked about is jealousy, right? There's a high school girl who has jealousy against some other high school girl because she's so attractive and she's smart. And it kind of shows how the negative thoughts, concentrate negative thought can become, we call them a living spirit or living ghost.
Yes.
It's almost like it's, you yourself become an evil spirit and start to hunt other person. So just one example, like a jealousy. So there's always negative thoughts. It starts within our mind first. That would actually become, it's almost like it's amplified. If you have one negative thoughts that you have in your mind towards somebody, if it starts to amplify and get so big to the point where your thinking just actually goes out of yourself and start to hunt the person, that's when it becomes a curse. So we wanted to show how curses manifest and how it actually happens through this fantasy story, and with a lot of computer graphics and things like that. So by visualizing it, you kind of understand, like, maybe this is real. If it is real, it's kind of scary, and maybe I am cursing somebody because I hate that person. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've been hating this person for the past 10 years. Is this a curse? Yes, it is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow. This to me is like I said, it's so spot on and so vital, because we need to become more responsible for what we're doing and aware of what we're doing.
Yeah.
This idea of jealousy, like jealousy, and you point this out, jealousy is like the worst.
Yeah,
right?
It's the most common. Yeah.
The most common. That's well said. But I'm thinking when you're talking, so a lot of people will start to obsess about somebody. Like you say, there's that girl, there's that person who seems to be so successful and life is so easy for them, and my life, sucks or whatever.
Yep.
And you're just grinding on them all the time.
That's right. It's so typical, or like even for the man too. Let's say your colleague, you've been working with this person for the past, 5, 10 years, whatever, how long it is, and you're always a buddy, always working together as a salesperson. And one day he gets promoted, and he almost like become like your boss or something. And you're gonna start to think, but I did better than him. I'm better salesperson. I did more Revit sales, than him. And so you're gonna start to think like, I should be in that position, not me. Why him, right?
Yeah.
But hey, somebody higher level will always see us from different perspective than what you see yourself. So there is a reason why he's been promoted, right? So, but then again, it's so common. If you are a really well-trained spiritually person, you're gonna say, congratulations. You're gonna praise this person and you're gonna help him out to even for him to be even more successful. That's how you become successful, right? But 99% of the time, we humans don't do that. We start to think like, why him, not me, right? So that's just that's how this jealousy starts, and it's so common, it's so typical. It could happen to any one of us anytime in our life.
Well, and I like in the movie how it's so clearly depicted. And by the way, everybody listening, you get access to this movie, you should watch it. This is the stuff that I like. Like, you've turned it into a supernatural thing that, to me, I'm going, actually, I think that's real. Right? Like, I don't have the outfit, but
it's so real, right? Yep.
We could do this stuff. But this idea that we ourselves, like when we're feeling put upon, like I would say, well, I'm just using the jealousy because there's more stories in this. But when that young woman, gets to hating the other person and wants her to die, not realizing how detrimental that is to her own self.
That's right. That's really scary part. And we don't realize by cursing somebody or thinking so negatively about somebody else, it's actually hurting yourself too. You're actually cursing yourself as well. So nothing is positive. Everything just goes in the wrong way, wrong direction, because it's all the laws of karma, right? Cause and effect. You did something negative, it's going to have something negative to that person, but it's going to come back to you and it's going to give you something negative, and your life is not going to go down. It's going to go up. It's going to go down, definitely. So that's why cursing somebody is just, there's nothing positive about it.
No. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was also thinking because, like I say, I think you have at least five stories, four or
That's
five
right.
stories, five
Five,
stories
yes.
within it, and in one of them you're talking about domestic violence,
That's right.
which
It's the anger. Yeah.
anger, yes, anger, and in that segment, it so clearly depicts that the victim is also a victimizer.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So it's so
Yeah,
difficult, domestic violence. It's a story about this person, a man he's not doing good at work. He's not doing a good number at work. So he's actually like, bullied by his boss. So, when he's angry in himself because he's been, shouted by his boss. So when he goes home, he needs to release his old anger and tension somewhere. Hopefully, he would do something else. He go fishing or whatever he does, but no, he goes out and start to, domestic violence at home. That's very common. Start drinking. People start drinking,
yeah,
and they lose the control, and that's how it happens. It's just so typical in not just the U.S. and Japan, but just around the world. So we want to show this as one of the example how anger can really, really curse somebody or hurt somebody else, and it influences. It's almost like a disease. It's almost like I'm trying to find a good word. It actually transition to other person this kind of energy.
yeah, yeah.
So if you are doing domestic violence, whoever is receiving it can also start to think, of course, they'll start thinking negativity in some way. So it's like a chain of negativity can start to happen. So
Yeah, I'm thinking about how the anger gets passed on, right?
yeah.
In your scene, it is the little girl who
Mm-hmm.
kind of steps in there, like she still has her goodness in there.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. Anger it really passes on. Like I was just thinking the most simple thing is like when you're driving in LA, people drive crazy in LA. I mean, it's the highway. It's like a kart racing. It's so crazy. And sometimes people start honking, and the honking, there's an energy of negativity, anger when people honk, right? So that honking, when you hear it, you feel like you get angry too just by hearing that honking, and you start to want to honk somebody else because he's honking you. It's really the chain of negative energy is so clear, especially with anger. You see them on the news and TVs.
yeah.
People start to hit one person, suddenly this person starts to get angry and this get into fight, and sometimes become a big riot, in cases, the worst case. So it's really scary.
Yeah, I'm really listening to you because I'm always really curious about how these things spread.
Yeah,
Like we know that joy can spread, but we
that's
also
right.
know that anger and fear and
Mhm.
those kinds of things really
Yep,
spread.
that's right. That's right. Because the God created us all, just like how He is, or He or she is. God has a power to create something. So we do have a power to create something. He also gave us this thing called free will.
Yeah, that thing.
If he didn't give us free will, just gave me, okay, humans, we can only think positively and that's it. And then life would be beautiful. It would be like a utopia and it would be like a heaven. But God has power to create and he has a free will. So he also gave us free will too. So that means we can think positively in our mind. But at the same time, if you want to think negatively, we can. And God is allowing us to think negatively as well. And that's how this the chain of a negative energy is still here, and it's a challenge for human beings, I think, to overcome this thing.
I think it's a real challenge, but
Yeah, it's a big
yeah, but I also believe that, like I said in this movie, the Divine Protector, right? It's like, wow, pay attention to how you're playing into this, how you are participating,
Mhm.
maybe unconsciously, but
That's right.
to be aware of it, you know,
Yep.
that's the beginning of
Mhm.
being able to shift it and go,
Yes.
wow, what's coming out of me is
Yep.
not a
That's
good
right.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
right. So being knowledge is the power. So being aware, you just said, of if these things does real, I mean, it does exist, right? We all know it does.
Yes.
This energy, negative energy exists, and it's gonna affect somebody. So by watching this movie, we want people to at least take it back home. So when something does happen to you next time that is related to something that is negative energy towards somebody, you can hopefully say to yourself, wait a minute, if I go over one more step with this thinking, that means I'm cursing somebody. So I think I need to stop it right now. And that's how you can really try to at least control yourself, not going overboard. If you don't know about it, you haven't seen the movie, then you'll never know. But just by watching it, you might just say to yourself, okay, if that's true, then this is dangerous, and I need to stop it.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're working on the PC, having a great day, and suddenly you get this backache or shoulder ache with no reason. You're not even going to a gym. There's gotta be a reason why you're getting this negative thinking or negative effect on yourself. Then you need to start to think about that. Just don't let it go. Think, is it me? Am I cursing myself? If you're thinking really negatively, you can actually bring in the negative thinking and negative effect to your body and your mind. But also, if you're being really healthy and body and mind healthy, but you're still getting something not positive, then you can start to think maybe it is something that is coming from outside of myself. Maybe somebody is thinking negatively about myself, and let me think about it. And you can kind of start to think about it. I'm sure like you can do this if you're in meditation, practicing some kind of spiritual exercises every day. If you go into meditation, sometimes some faces pop out, suddenly, and you'll be like, okay, I just saw his face or her face. I haven't even thinking about it. Like, what is it? There must be something going out there with him or her. Let me think about it. And you start thinking about it and you feel positive energy, then that person must be thinking good thing about you, right? So just give the energy back to them, and better world it turned out to be. But if you feel even worse thinking about this specific person just pops up in your head, then there's a big chance that he or she might be thinking negatively about you. That's a little hint, not always 100% right, but hint. So you can start to talk to him or her spiritually in your mind, or if he's your colleague, next time you see him, start having conversation and figure out what's going on. So this is how you can actually figure out the curses too, because if once they stop thinking, if you become mutual agreement with this person or spiritually this person's energy, then curse stops. And once it stops, it's fine. But as long as it's not hitting you, it's fine. So you have to kind of find a mutual way to agree upon, so he or she is not against you anymore. So that's how you can really stop the curse, I think.
Wow. You're describing everything I do all the time. That's why I'm over here smiling, going,
wow, interesting.
This is fascinating to me. I talk occasionally with people about it, but I'm a firm believer of when you're sensing that or you see that face, because that is what happens to me. The faces will come. And in the old days, I used to be afraid and run away, like, oh dear, oh dear. But I learned that in that sacred space, right, in that space with God, that I can just communicate with them and say, why are you here? What do you need? And can we come to agreement?
Right.
And or do you just need to go away?
That's right. So some people are really, really angry, and sometimes they can't. There's no out of control. This is like this movie is kind of goes to the extreme where we show intentionally the extreme portion of human being. So to the point where Master Soul has to do this ritual thing and repel these negative energies. But good thing about this movie is that she doesn't. She has this key message, or she says this one word every time. Right before she repels, she says, "Reflect upon yourself and do whatever." But she never says go back to hell. or return back to hell, go back to where you came from. She say, go back to heaven, or fulfill your mission. She says something positive towards this negative existence. So that's kind of shows there is always a love and caring and compassion, even for the ones who is just so evil. And that's like how the God thinks. I think we all want to save everybody, be happy, but sometimes there's a point where you just can't, because it's so synced into this evil thinking. You just have to sometimes fight and repel in the world at the end of the day. So
yeah, she does. We're actually going to take a little station break, Benny, in just a minute. Or I was telling Benny. But I do want to point this out. I particularly noted that Master Salt gave each of them the opportunity to, I don't know if repent's the right word, whatever it is, but to repent or to change their mind or decide that they're going to go in the opposite direction. And when they didn't, she's like, okay, the verdict is out.
That's right.
And she did say something like, reflect upon yourself and go to heaven, and then the salt comes down.
Yeah, salt comes down. This. Wow.
And they're gone, and she does wonderful supernatural things that I just love. So anyway, like I even debated taking a break with you because I'm loving this so much. Anyway, this is Loretta Brown. My guest today, the amazing Yoichi Utebi, and the new movie, The Divine Protector. You just want to watch it. So don't go away, because we are talking about curses, and this is juicy stuff. We'll be right back.
Did you know that Reiki healing can be done at a distance? It's true. So let Reiki Oasis focus powerful energy to help relieve your stress, grief, sadness, anger, and so much more. Convenient, personalized treatments at a distance can increase lightness of being. During your appointment, find a quiet place to lie down or sit to receive healing energies. If you want help with your dis-ease, visit ReikiOasis.com. Harness life's energy. Visit ReikiOasis.com today.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission to have more people sign up as organ, eye, and tissue donors. What drives her? Roxanne received a heart transplant made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day to devote myself to signing up the most people in the United States. That's my goal.
Now she's a powerful force for good. What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Have something important to say? Want to help improve our world? Need to promote your business uniquely and effectively? KKNW is the answer. Our staff helps broadcasters and podcasters create professional sounding audio. Bring your talent and let our experts help you craft a radio show or podcast that best delivers your message. Learn more at 1150kknw.com. That's 1150kknw.com. KKNW, talk variety that's live and local. Alternative Talk 1150, here to uplift your day.
Welcome back to the original Loretta Brown Show with my special guest, Yoichi Utebi, who is the producer of amazing movies, lots of them. I want to remind everybody that these shows are archived. You can download them for free and listen to them anytime you want on the archives for the original Loretta Brown Show on 1150 KKNW. And of course, we're on iTunes, Podcast One, Spotify, and we're all over the place. So we are talking today about curses and the negative mind and the positive mind. In the movie, and we've talked about two segments. One thing I wanted to go back and point out to people that in the segment on jealousy, right, that there's actual physical manifestation on the girl's throat of the effect of that jealousy energy that came from the other girl. And this stuff is real. It's actually real, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're powerful. I also wanted to point out, so in the movie, you have some segments where the curse is coming from the person themselves. But in this domestic violence one, you have an external being. You want to talk about that? Yeah.
Red demon, right? Yeah.
Yes, the red demon.
So, when you are so angry, let's say angry, or you have such negative, concentrated negative thoughts, you're almost like making a phone call to a hell realm or wherever the place is, and you say, hey guy, I'm your buddy and your friend, so why don't you come and join me? Right? So they were like, okay, he has the same mindset, so they'll just come in and jump on you. And in anger, it's usually it's a demon. We call them red demon, but it's not those evil demon. It's evil, but it's almost like ogre. Ogre. It's almost like ogre, right? But it didn't feel right to use the word ogre, so we actually use it red demon because he has a red body. It's a very famous demon in Japan. Anybody, even little kid, when they see the figure, they're gonna know, oh, that's a red demon, right? But in America, it's probably a little bit different. But it's a very typical red demon, and so. Red demon, he's supposed to be a good guy. In other words, he's supposed to be good. He's the one. He's supposed to protect the little kids, and the bad. He'll protect the good ones from the bad guys. And he used to protect like the Buddha. In the movie, Buddha he used to protect something divine. That's why Divine Protector, Buddha. But because he was he lost his battle, he turned into a negative energy. So this negative energy red demon was actually hunting possessing on this man just talking about domestic violence. So what we want to show is that the energy of anger or negative energy, if it's so concentrated and so strong, it can pull in other energy, not just yourself, but if you guys don't believe, if the person who's listening to doesn't believe in any spirituality or actually spirits, that's fine. But there's a lot of negative energies flying around you. So you're going to start to attract and accumulate all this negative energy. So you're actually going to become even more powerful in that specific negative field. And that's what we want to show. Your thoughts of negativity can actually amplify even bigger than just yourself. But you can actually pull somebody else's thought as well. So in this scene, it's a red demon. But at the end of the day, Master Salt repels red demon. What happens? Bad red demon doesn't disappear, but he repents in the movie. And he realizes, oh my God, I used to be like you. I used to serve the Buddha, and I used to be a good guy, protecting the good ones from bad ones. So he realizes, and he becomes Master Salt's disciple, and he helps, through the journey of this story. Sometimes once he comes out and helps Master Salt. So it becomes, it enriches the entire story, and in the depth of how people can really, by changing their mind, they can actually become from negative to positive state of mind.
Yeah. And this idea too, that the more that you emote that, we'll just say anger, the more it tracks other beings or other thought forms to itself.
That's right.
So it becomes a big monster, a big ogre.
Big ogre, yes, definitely. So you have to really be careful with that.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Now, you also bring into this a young man with a big ego who is going through a lot of women.
That's right. Yeah, pride. It's
pride.
Part of pride and conceited, right? There's a segment. There's a story about how one's pride can or conceit can really, really harm others. Sometimes for us, even not in the movie, we go to extreme, so it's obvious he's a bad guy. But sometimes we have to be like that kind of person without even us really noticing it, and which means we might be bringing unhappiness to others because you are just too selfish, just thinking too much about yourself only. It's always great. You have to think about yourself, your future, your success, and your prosperity. Everything is about yourself. But if it's 100% about yourself, that means there might be a chance just because of that, you might be hurting somebody or bringing unhappiness to others. And scary thing about this story is that a lot of times we don't notice it, because
Right.
we are praised, you do good in your work, or somebody say you're so beautiful, and you feel good about yourself. And sometimes if it just leaves it at that, that's fine. But sometimes that kind of triggers your ego and your pride and the selfishness even bigger. But you don't notice it because it's just such a small change in your mind. But people around you are going to notice it. They're going to say, Utebi-san has been a little bit the big nose, and he, what's wrong with him? He's like a Pinocchio. What's wrong with him? He's been a little bit different nowadays. And does he think he's like a big man or the side, or even a woman too? Suddenly, she starts to act a little bit different. But the person actually doing it doesn't really realize they're doing it, but others can see it, and that's the scary part of this pride thing.
Yeah.
It kind of tickles you without noticing it.
Yeah, I've actually observed that, and there's a verse in the Bible: pride goeth before destruction, and destruction before a fall. But there is this thing where I also recently noticed in someone that I know that I was observing, their behavior has really changed. And I got to thinking that they had been doing very well and getting a lot of positive recognition for that, but they're a bit puffed up. And that thing, when people come, like, I really pay attention to that, even myself, like, I have good friends that'll say, I think you're going a little over the top there. And it's like, all of us need to examine that at times and go, am I getting so full of myself that I cannot be sensitive to others?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So
and you brought in kind of a big monster with that one.
Yeah, at the end, it's called Tengu. It's a long nosed goblin, I guess, in English. Again, it's a very mystical ancient creature, very famous in Japan. If you're so arrogant and so selfish and always thinking only about yourself, we call them Tengu, long nosed goblin. So he's a big Tengu, we call him, because he's got everything that this kind of characteristics, have. So he's a big one, and he's a big monster. So Shoko fights the battle, with the big Tengu at the end. So that's like a very big scene. We take, I don't know, maybe 1/3 of the entire movie for this episode. So for us, it's very important because you look around and Tengu's everywhere.
Well, and also that section depicted to me like how many lives he upset, right? He hurt. And then I'm thinking of all the people that those people know. And it's big, it's a big thing to tear someone down or to distract them in that manner.
Yeah, because they have the power. They're not little. They have a strong influence. More power you have equals more strong influence you have. More money you have stronger influence. So it's got to be used for the good purpose. But sometimes if you're too egocentric, sometimes it can really, really be negative. We just want, he's again, a very, very extreme, selfish, egocentric person, but we all have something like that, I think, within ourselves. So we just wanted to show, be careful, don't be too egocentric and thinking too much about yourself. So.
Well, and the arrogance really came through in that segment. Yeah, very big.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on ignorance. Ignorance.
Yep.
Very good segment there with a professor. So
that's right.
Tell us about it.
So Professor Kitamura, he's a professor of university. He teaches about supernatural phenomenon. So like UFO and fireballs and spirit and things like that. The problem with him is that he says it's all scientific effect, like plasma effect, or this is something like that. He wants it to show all the spiritual things that's happening around us as a scientific way of this, explaining. So in other words, he's so ignorant about seeing through the true reality of spirituality, or believing in spirituality, in spirit, and having faith, things like that. So we wanted to show this kind of ignorance what kind of consequences it can bring to people. Because he's teaching the students, no, that's not a spirit. It's a plasma effect, and students are saying, "Are you sure? But isn't there? Are you brainwashing us? By saying that?" We don't know if it's right or wrong, but we have the right to think it might not be just a plasma effect, but it could be a spirit. Where is the freedom of our thinking and thoughts and things like that? So a lot of, especially when you are a teacher, somebody who's on top of education, you have the responsibility in that area as well. So just wanted to share, that ignorance can really affect somebody. It can also hurt somebody's life as well. So,
well, and the power of what I call the rigid mind, right? That mind that is just, and it's true, the professor had a lot of influence over those students and was basically forcing them to go along with his line of thought without allowing there to be some other,
Yeah, there's I forgot the name of the movie. God is alive. God. This professor and there's a student. He believes in faith and professor doesn't. I forgot the name. God is alive. I forgot, but that very famous movie, and that's kind of similar.
Very similar.
They fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need to fight.
And it kind of shows that difference between spiritual and secular, that kind of a dialogue, which I also think is really interesting. And then, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
And then the other segment, because I do want to touch on each one of them.
Sure.
Is a COVID scam.
Oh, that's right.
I loved that.
Yeah,
I went,
greed, right? Greed.
Yeah,
so there's a scammer. He's a fraud. And then this old woman, she's thinking about going to her elderly nursing. Is that what you call them?
Yeah,
nursing home, because she's too old, and she scammed big out of all the savings that she had. Because the guy said, you can contact. There's a doctor, there's a hospital, and all the good things in, but it was all a lie, of course. Yeah. So through that, we want to show greed. Greed is something. It's a desire. We all have a desire in our life, but if the desire gets too strong, where you want and want and want everything you want, and if it gets to the point where you don't care if you hurt somebody or if you bring somebody else unhappy, as long as you are becoming happier and receiving what you want, if you think that's fine, then that's a greed. So that again can really become a curse as well. It's a different way, a form of curse, but it is actually hurting somebody else. Yeah.
So how do we know if we're cursed? How do we repel a curse?
So again, how do we know? I think we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
The best way is to always check up on yourself. How are you doing today? And we call them self-reflection in Buddhism, I guess, in a way. Just calm your mind and just always think about yourself. At least, 5, 10, 20 minutes. If you want to do it for 30, that's great. And go back to your everyday life and think where your mindset is and your heart lies. That's very important, because